All right, y'all. So we're about to get into the tea because it is hot. But before we do that, we got to talk about this group trip to Vietnam, March 14th through the 20th of 2026. I want you to be there. If you have seen our trips to Bali, to Thailand, to Zanzibar, and our upcoming one to Cape Town, you don't want to miss this one to Vietnam. People ask me, why did I choose Vietnam? I mean, look at it. We got good pricing in terms of the currency conversion, so the dollar takes you further. We got beautiful landscapes, and we got great Vietnamese food and shopping. Plus, 3 cities, so we're going to be running around this country looking all types of crazy and all types of lit. And we got a 2 day luxury cruise, y'all. A 2 day luxury cruise. So I need you to go ahead and make your reservation today. Go ahead and make your deposit today. You can put it on a payment plan. Click the link in the description. Now we can really get into this tea. Do we call this episode kicking and screaming, or I mean, what are we calling it? I need y'all to let me know in the chat. Like, what are we calling it when you got Tamar yanking on Trina's wig and kicking her from behind? What do we call it? I ask you. I, I ask you.
Is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence? I ask you. Is it a coincidence?
What do we call it? Maybe a mess. Maybe. Can Jesus fix it? We don't know. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio quality. I did set my mic at a different setting today. TMI, but uh, I want to make sure you guys are getting the best audio quality possible. And there's no sense in having a good old mic working if you ain't using it correctly. So I just want to know if you guys can hear me and hear me clearly. Sisters Gone Wild. Yes, that's given very Tyler Perry sisters. Okay. Tyler Perry sisters. Okay, cool. Y'all can hear it. We might as well call it Saturday, right? Because we talking about the ladies of the Braxtons. Let's get into it, y'all. So without further ado, housekeeping out of the way, your comments are on the screen. We're gonna have a deep dive discussion on the Braxtons. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna get through all my thoughts. I'm gonna look at your comments, process, and I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what I think. And we just gonna get into it and be 100% for real. Always I say this with the utmost sincerity. You know, eh, Even when I get hyped up on this channel, my intent is to have a discussion, an adult discussion. And, people always think when I have to criticize somebody that I dislike them. I get that a lot. You don't like this person or you don't like her. I've never had that in my thoughts. If anything, I'm grateful to the reality TV stars that we are talking about because it gives me something to talk about. And without them, I would not know you. So don't ever mistake my critique, even if it is a repeated critique, for dislike or disdain. I might dislike actions, but I don't have to dislike a person. Please don't mistake that, because a lot of times I feel like people project their own dislikes onto me, and that's not fair because I don't have those feelings. That might be you. Okay? So now we're gonna dive in, right? So in this episode of the Braxtons, is season 2, episode 4, Where Did We Go Wrong? A sister dinner turns explosive when Tamar drops bold accusations. Toni reels from loss of Angie Stone while revamping her Miami show. Towanda's Bridgerton bridal shower moves forward, but some sisters fail to show up again, and Tamar preps for EP release. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the brawl of it all. The sisters are under the impression, or at least 3 of them seem to be under the impression, that they are getting together for the benefit of figuring out how to best care for and get the truth out of Evelyn Braxton, who had their mom, who Miss E, we'll call her Miss E, because I mean I feel most comfortable, right? Just because again, I'm from the South. I feel like, when we talking about somebody's elder mom, like I just feel like we got to call her by whatever she wants to be called, right? So Miss E has been having some heart problems, and they didn't know about them until Logan told them. So they all had wanted to kind of come together, since they hadn't really been on good speaking terms. We really know that the sisters have issues with each other. It always seems to me to be that Tamar and Towanda seem to have the most beef. I think that sometimes I feel like they are oftentimes two sides of a different, like of a similar coin. I feel like Tamar is a very reactive person. I feel like Towanda is a bit more passive aggressive. Let me say that. Okay. And take that for what you will. All right. That's how I feel personally, based on what I see on the screen, what I hear from different, sources. That's just what I hear. Okay. Now, Towanda is also a lot more controlled. Let me say that. Toni is usually a lot more controlled. And Trina feels very much like almost the trapped, helpless middle sister who is in some way, shape, or form really kind of just happy to be there, but also is off. She's always been off doing her own thing, right? I feel like I feel a little bit like she's the little engine that could. I was looking at her social media. I see her kind of just out there doing her own thing. And I feel like she is very much more similar to the rest of us, like just out here trying to survive. That's my general impression. I don't mean no harm by that when I say that. I mean that with actually respect, right? So let's bring it back to where they are right now. They're in this scene together at dinner. The purpose is supposed to be Miss E. Tamar has come in with a different agenda. Okay, let me say this, and we talked about this in yesterday's video. If you missed yesterday's video, please go back and watch that video. We break down the whole cease and desist, who the cease and desist was probably from. I don't think that it was from anybody at the table. I really don't think that anybody at the table gave Tamar's address to the attorney that sent her the cease and desist. The cease and desist should have been already known about. Ashley told the world about her father apparently, allegedly, let me put the alleged badge, wanting to lawyer up at the mention of, the family name and anything that may disparage it, according to her. We played that yesterday for you guys. And if you missed it, another person that did a really great breakdown of that video was Jamie. That's me. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you guys know her on YouTube already. Her video is in the comment section down below. I mean, not in the comment section, in the description. But you can also go back and check yesterday's video for a quicker 1-2 punch of that. But she gives a much longer discussion about it right now. So with all of that being known, okay, all of that being known, it's baffling to me why Tamar would come to the dinner and accuse the sisters of either A, sending it, which we know to be not true, B, giving her address to the old family attorney, which, to be quite frank with you, even if she has worked very hard to hide her address from the folks, if you knew Towanda didn't even have your address, why would you even think that she or think to say that she said it, that she had some kind of cahoots in this? Furthermore, you do know that an attorney usually has an investigator that can find an address in order to serve you legal documents, right? This isn't some random person on the street who just wants your address so that they can find out what the latest thing that you're wearing is. This is an attorney at law, I'm assuming, with reasonable resources to find you. So the third reason why she could be upset is because maybe somebody didn't give her the heads up that it was coming. But girl, Ashley has already stated online that her father allegedly had intended to lawyer up. So, by process of, I don't know, real information that's already out there, why on earth are you bringing this to them as though they were supposed to be doing something about it when you are the person who had the plans all along to bring her to the show much later after this whole situation has blown up online? It is you that chose to bring her to the show to actually have the conversation on your podcast, right? To me, this is where the cauldron starts to bubble, right? Now, there are things that Tamar says that could also be true. Could Toni have said, yes, we should bring her onto the Braxton show instead of your Chitlin Circuit show? Maybe Toni did say that. I don't really know. But the core of this issue is that you are bringing up today is that you have received a cease and desist about something that you knew was going to be problematic for someone else. Okay. Now, if you want to do that and you want to do it anyway, then by all means, go ahead. But why are you blaming them for something that you intend to do anyway? And you know that the proof is out there that somebody else has done it and it can be easily found. All you have to do is put in a search, Ashley Braxton cease and desist. Search it online. Just do a Google search. And if you've been talking to Ashley, surely you know this. Surely you know this. Now, to the people out there who are on Tamar's side, I can understand why. Because Tamar is good reality TV. Let me tell you something. Last night, she delivered, okay? Probably we've seen a lot of reality TV right now, so it's hard to say what will go down in reality TV history. But for this show, for this family, it will go down in history. Okay. And they've had a lot of moments when you really think about it. And I'm not going to be one of those types of people that says Tamar yanking on Trina's wig and kicking her is beyond the realm of like, oh my God, I'm aghast at this, because we've seen Kim and Courtney fight on the Kardashians. We've seen Kim whop Courtney with a pocketbook. You know what I'm saying? But I think because of the way that we receive this particular family, our level of expectation for this particular family, for the family that is the longest running Black reality TV show family, I don't think that we've ever really seen them come to blows in the way that we did, right? But to me, and I say this with love, Tamar does create some of the most compelling reality TV. She always has, and she probably always will. I think that she literally, I've said it before, I could have seen her on Real Housewives of Atlanta, perhaps, maybe just a little bit. But I'm going to tell you that there's a problem that Tamar seems to have, that it sometimes a lot of those really big reality TV personalities tend to suffer from, and that is that they are sometimes their worst enemies. I'm going to give you some examples, and some of which I don't think that you will appreciate. Some people won't appreciate them, but you know in your heart that they're based in truth. Remember when Nene allegedly yanked up that cameraman and yanked him out of the closet? Remember that? Remember that time? Remember when she was throwing popcorn at Kenya Moore on that cash trip? Remember when Kenya Moore pulled out the poster boards of Britt Eady? Remember when Kenya Moore pulled out Kim Fields' chair from under her? Some of our favorite reality TV stars what ends up happening sometimes is they sometimes end up taking things a step too far, right? And that typically ends up being sometimes their downfall in terms of the shows that made them extremely popular or that they, in fact, made extremely popular. And it is unfortunate, right? And so, what I feel like at some point, right? Because I noticed a pattern, I feel like Tamar has a similar pattern to some of those huge reality TV personalities, wherein I feel like Tamar, I really want to call her little fires everywhere sometimes, because I do think that she does set little fires and then she wonders, why is the house burning? I do. And the reason I took back my thing about her being on Housewives is because of that fact. Because I do think that she has this innate ability to set a little fire, metaphorically speaking, right? I'm not talking in real life, but I'm talking about an emotional social media something that she typically ends up setting herself, whether she sees it or not, and then she backs away from it, and then when she gets burned, she now is wondering, how did she get burned in this? And I'm going to give you some clear-cut examples of this. In last night's episode, the things that Tamar does in reaction to what's happening are a bit chaotic, right? You see her in Tony's face before, I mean, this is before things even explodes. You see her hop up, toss the glass over at Towanda. You see her you see her going there before anybody else does, right? Later on, she tells the producer, OG, she says that, oh, Tawanda's bringing up something from 1995. Towanda brought that up, not saying that it was right, but I mean, then it made me wonder, like, girl, did it really happen? Did you really sleep with someone? Who was it? But when she says Towanda brought up something from 1995, I'm like, well, Towanda brought that up because you brought up the fact that you paid for her down payment, right? And at that point, whether it was true or not, now y'all are going blow for blow, right? And again, I'm not going to say that any of the other sisters are any better in terms of they're pouring gasoline on the fire over the years, because I don't know that. I'm only talking about this scene right here, and I'm telling you, for me, where it started. The match was lit when Tamar brought out those documents and then asserted that that they all knew, or that they didn't have her back, or that they did it and she didn't want to film with them because of these documents. If we take things back to that initial thing, then to me, this is a fire that Tamar set. And what she gave us was reality TV gold. But at the end of the day, she set the fire. And the reason I say that yet again, and I'm going to repeat it, is because there was already the knowledge that this whole situation stemmed from someplace else. You had to know that. You had to know that. Then, to me, the instance where she ends up pulling Trina's hair and kicking her from behind, I really didn't like that all that much as well, because I felt like Trina's intent obviously was to get in between Toni and Tamar. The only vantage point that she had for getting in that in the middle of the two of them was from behind Tamar, right? From around Tamar to get in there, right? Now, granted, don't nobody want nobody touching them when they into a heated, argument. And Toni herself, she gets up and she slams the table. She's shaking the table too, and she gets up and she gets, her and Tamar get into each other's faces, right? Um, I didn't like the pulling of Trina's hair because it happened from behind. You know what I'm saying? Security was already in the way. So now you yanking on her hair from behind. I mean, if you're gonna do that, Do it. I mean, do it in her face. She's sitting there right beside you the whole time. If you really wanted to like go at her, like go at her. And then to say to security, get off me, I'm not gonna hit my sister. Girl, you already did that. You already did it. You already did it. I didn't like any of the mental health conversations that they were having about, a person being sick and mental health is real. Um, because I felt like all of them, every last one of them, I felt like there are really people out there that deal with anxiety, depression on a day-to-day basis that, take medication that are really, really suffering, that are really trying to figure out how to make their way through. And I felt like their conversation about it, all of them, I felt like it was really kind of callous or whatever. And I get it. People around me have had those types of conversations. I've heard it before. Mental, those type of things where people like kind of like joking or whatever like that, or they're trying to like say like, "Girl, you sick in the head," or "Dude, you sick in the head," or something like that. But I think I didn't really like it because I do think that there are people out there that really deal with these types of issues, and I do think that to kind of like make light of it is triggering for a lot of people out there. I say that as somebody that deals with, anxiety, and I'm kind of prone to bouts of depression as well. So when I hear them kind of like say all of that stuff like that, I'm like, for me, that's why I look at like, when Tamar talks about like, I got mental health issues from dealing with y'all. Like, for those of us that deal with these types of things on a day-to-day basis, like we have to work really, really hard to stay away from things that trigger us, right? Or not, maybe not, right? So we can actually kind of just move away from it and just don't deal with it. So the fact that you still trying to like run around and deal with these things, I'm gonna tell you the truth like this. Somebody in my life or my family causing me mental health issues, causing me to feel anxiety and depression, that I feel like you stealing from me and all types of things. That's what you don't have access to me at all anymore. You don't get it. You don't get it, because at the end of the day, my mental health is going to be worth more than the dollars that I might be getting from doing this reality TV show. And furthermore, for me, as Tamar is detailing this conversation with the producer later on, she's like, "Yeah, y'all not gonna have me out here doing this, that, and the third." Well, I'm like, "Girl, you did it. You did it. Nobody else was up at that point. Nobody else was in each other's faces. Nobody else was breaking glasses. That was you. You started all of those little instances." And I get it. Tamar might be the black sheep of the family. She might have these mental, issues from dealing with her family. But at the end of the day, if you swore off all of these things, why do you keep coming back? After the whole situation, and we're gonna really go there because I feel like it's necessary to have these conversations. I'm not saying that the woman shouldn't work. Don't get me wrong. But what I am saying is, if you are having and suffering from all of these different things, from dealing with these aspects of reality TV, you said that you dealt with stuff with WeTV when you first did it with the Braxton Family Values. You said you were dealing with issues when the whole situation happened with you and your ex David. Y'all remember that reality TV show and remember what happened that. And we were all upset. We were all worried for Tamar and trying to figure out what was going on and what could we do in our prayers to make things better. But it seems like to me, each and every single time that something happens and you end up having some type of like, something happened on one of these shows, it's always the result of a show that ends up being as chaotic as this. And at the center of the chaos are your decisions. Okay? These are your decisions. You keep coming back to the thing that you says breaks you. So you have to ask yourself at a certain point, why do you keep doing that? Is it because as Toni assessed, and I think her assessment is correct, that you would prefer to be infamous more so than you would rather be famous? Okay? Infamy, okay? There is a connotation with that. You are actually at this point in time being more known for your reality TV shenanigans than you are for your talent. That's problematic. That's problematic, and we continue to see it happen over and over again. Just a few weeks ago, you fell out with you were literally you had the world worried about you because you posted about telling the world that you almost died. You blacked out and all of these things happened to you, and now we are concerned about you yet again, and that turns into a whole other firestorm that you didn't bother to correct at that point. So it's like you keep falling out with people and you keep wondering why it happens. There is a reason, and at the center of that are your decisions. So as much as and that is the problem. Because as much as she could be right about this about Towanda, about that about Toni, about this about Trina, it's hard to even actually digest any of that because we've got to break through the shenanigans that you give us in order to get to the meat and potatoes of whatever is your issue. So you could be crying and crying and crying, but it appears as though you are crying wolf because we cannot determine what is real and what is shenanigans anymore. I mean, the timing of it is great that all this happens on this episode because Tamar releases a music video movie. Yes, we've got new music to promote. Toni is now going on tour with Boys to Men and New Edition. Yes, there's tours to promote. So, I mean, yes, all of this does work and fall under the umbrella of getting more work, but at what cost? At what cost, really? Right? And again, I go back to my statements, what we've seen on this show. I'm not going to berate them because they got a little bit physical or whatever like that. Did I like seeing it? Absolutely not. I didn't want to see that for them, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, it's baddies all day. You know what I'm saying? The people will love those types of shenanigans. The people will absolutely eat up everything that Tamar did in last night's episode. Yes, Tamar worked. You told them they've been mistreating you all these years. Some of that could be true. But to me, it's very hard for me to digest it, knowing that the whole scene was based on a situation that already was known about. So it really didn't make any sense to me. It would have been different if they were already coming to that scene and they were having some other conversation about some sisterly issues that were really going on that we could really touch on. But the genesis for this whole debate was the cease and desist. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's illogical. It's completely illogical. So that's that. That's how I feel about it. Those are my frustrations with Tamar. And I label them as frustrations because I do think that, again, she's a great reality TV personality. But is that what you want to be known for? And if that's what you want to be known for, you have absolutely secured your space in reality TV history. You've done all the things. You've beefed with just about, literally, who haven't you beefed with? K. Michelle, Candy, Tommy, you've gone against some heavyweights. Now you've gone up against Toni Braxton. Bravo. And the idea in my mind that you would say that Toni Braxton is jealous of you makes absolutely zero sense to me. I was reading in the comments and people talking about, well, sisters can be jealous of sisters. I think so too. Yeah. And that is true. It is true that what somebody said in the comments that, there's a person over here who can have everything in the world and still be jealous of the person over here who doesn't have as much, but they look happy. Absolutely. But I didn't see any happiness in that which I saw last night. But I do think that Tamar got what she wanted out of the scene. I think she delivered. But then again, I think that they all did. Again, we got albums and tours to promote. Let's make some TV. You can call me biased. You can call me whatever you want. I mean, if I don't give a perspective that you like, I've over the past 6 years, I'm so okay with you calling me biased. I've learned that at the end of the day, when I don't give a perspective that someone likes in the comments, they will call you biased in order to negate what you're saying because they don't want to hear anything negative about the person that they love. And if you can't handle an objective critique about somebody that I've already said that I absolutely love and I love their music, then this is not the place for you. Period. We appreciate you coming through, but if you can't handle objective critiques, comments, then just say, listen, I disagree. That would be easier for you. That is, if that's your true feeling, that's what you should say. But to call someone biased because they don't agree with your stance, it's weak to me. I've never had to call anybody biased because they have a critique that I don't agree with. I haven't. And if I don't like it, cool. You can say I disagree, and I'm totally cool with that. Give your reasons for why you disagree. Give your thoughts. Like stimulate us in some way, shape, or form. Add to the conversation. But simply saying you're biased, that gets you nowhere. What does that get you? We're here to have conversation. Give your perspective. Lace it with examples and facts, please. And if you can't do it, then I mean, I get it. All right, so Towanda is upset also because Toni cannot make her any. Toni can't really be bothered with any of Towanda's stuff, and let's just really get down to it. Um, what I think about Toni is I love Toni too, but I'm gonna give you the real on what I think about her. I don't think Toni really has that much to do with her sisters at all. I really don't. I think she might be. I think she's going to be there for them if they really need her. But I think that Toni is wrapped up in Toni's world. I think that Toni has always been wrapped up in Toni's world. But I think she will give if she needs to. Monetarily, I think she will be there spiritually. I think that when it comes down to Toni got to work, Toni gonna work, and that's gonna be that. Period. That's gonna be that. And some people may call that self-centered. I think that she could be very self-centered, but I don't think that she is selfish, which I think those are two different terms. I think a selfish person really is stingy. I think of them as being like, I want everything for me and not for you. But I think a self-centered person, and a lot of artists are self-centered. Don't get me wrong. If you understand the distinction, you will understand what I'm saying. A lot of artists are very self-centered. They live in this bubble of their world, their art, and what they do. I think that is Toni. I think she's had to be that way. I think that it has been a protective shell for her. I think that it I just know artists. I just know artists. I just that's just my feeling for her. Um and to a certain degree, I feel like that's also Tamar too. I feel like Tamar is an artist, but I think Tamar also needs a level of attention that is a bit different. And I think that there's a maybe that came from something in their childhood. I'm not a psychologist, I can't diagnose it, but I feel like their levels of need for attention are very different, and they express it differently. And right now, Towanda is in need of that attention that she has had to dedicate her life to Toni, and Toni's not reciprocating in the way that Towanda would probably like. And again, I do feel like Trina's a lot of times just happy to be there. That's how I feel. That's a good point too, Natalie. Toni has to work when she's able to work, right? And I think that there have been time. I know this to be. This is such an interesting concept because It's almost like Toni always has to strike while the iron is hot because she's had periods in her life where she couldn't strike because of illness, because of health reasons, because of what, you know what I'm saying? So I think that again, her frame of reference for being self-centered is very different. I think that Tamar's frame of reference for being an artist, I think where Toni might have had a lot of the spotlight when they were younger, I think that Tamar has found her own bubble of spotlight in the reality TV world space, right? So it's been music and reality TV, and it for me, I wish that she leaned more into the vocal because we all know she can sing. So that's what's always so like frustrating for me about her. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the Braxtons. That was the episode. I told you I was going to give you my thoughts, my opinions, really based on what we have seen, what we have heard, things that have come up. That's why I think what I think, right? So you're welcome to discuss what you think about the situation. I would love to hear your opinions, your thoughts based on hopefully things that you have seen, evidence, and the like, right? As best you can. All right. So real quick, because I get asked about this a lot. We're gonna get into the bells. The bells are indeed back and they are a ringing. And so we're gonna discuss Bell Collective season 6, episode 5. After hosting a crawfish boil, Carrie invites the Bells on a trip to the Gulf Coast to lower tensions in the collective. Tensions run high between Letitia and Latrice. Okay. So we're left with still trying to piece together what is going on with Glenn. Um and Mandy Girl. Did Glenn proposition Mandy Girl in some type of way? Did Latrice know about the question being asked at the Ponderosa? I'm going to give you my thoughts. Again, some people may not like it, but I'm going to tell you anyway. There's a lingering question about whether or not Latrice knew about A, Mandy Girl and Glenn and the accusations that Mandy Girl has and the DMs, right? Latrice knew, Tamber knew. Okay. Latrice is the one who is getting all of the smoke because it was her event that Mandy brought this up. And it was the question that was dropped off in the fishbowl at Latrice's event. Do I think that Latrice put that question in the bowl? No. Okay. I don't think she put it there. I'm not going to blame it on production, but I don't think Latrice put it there. Okay. That's what I'm going to say. I don't think Latrice did it. Half the girls don't think Latrice did it. If you know Latrice did, if you know reality TV, I think you will also realize Latrice did not do it. I think Marie knows Latrice did not do it. I think Letitia knows that Latrice did not do it. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that still makes Latrice responsible because it was her event, it was her house, it was her game, it's her friend. So we'll just walk with that, right? If we walk with that, then okay, then we can suspend reality or suspend reality, right? Because we know if I was a producer and I knew what the T was, I'm not gonna hold y'all. That's why I'm able to write these books. I will put that question up in there. I'll be like, somebody knows something about something and somebody about to tell it. And we about to make a scene. And these people about to get into it. Everybody here, it's an all cast event. We about to light this thing up. Plop goes the question. I would. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, we can move on. All right. If we didn't cover that base, I would not be me. Okay. And I'm not trying to, I ain't trying to disrupt production because I don't know that they did it or not. All I'm saying is if I was the producer, I would have dropped it in there. Oh, so casually. And then poked on that girl, yanked on her wig like Tamar yanked on Trina's, and said, girl, pull us a question out. Now, we need action. We on the clock, girl. I don't have all night to be here. All right. So with that being said, Carrie is getting some of the girls together. She invites some of the girls down for a crawfish boil. I personally, I did go to a seafood restaurant last night. I had a very, very good seafood broil. I sure did. Not a crawfish was included. I personally, I like the taste of crawfish, but the work to get it is just a little bit too much for me. And there's too many things that are floating around with the crawfish meat that I just don't enjoy this process. It is like a lot of work for a very little reward. Who wants to do that? Not me. And then you got like 90 crawfish that you got to do this with. Why would I do that? Anyway, so she's telling the ladies that she's going to invite all of them to Biloxi, to get the collective back together, as if she knows them all that well. But listen, somebody's got to do it, right? And she seems to have the means to get the girls out of Jackson. All right, cool. Cliff is still sleeping at the bar in the condos above the bar. I mean, how far is the restaurante away from their castle? The restaurante must be 100 miles away. That is the only reason I can see that you would be sleeping in a condo above the restaurante when you have a castle that you could stay in with a nice pool and a view and a football stadium for a backyard. I just don't get it. But that's just me. The girls, we do see Tamara is actually on this show. Oh my God. I am so excited. We see a scene of Tamara. Have we ever seen her daughter before? Listen, Tamara, I don't blame you. Protect your kids, okay? Protect your kids. That was the other thing I didn't like about the Braxtons when Tamar was like to Towanda, own your kids. Like, I mean, at that point, like, I just feel like it's got to be like a limit. And I know y'all sisters and stuff like that. So here's the thing. Sisters can talk about each other in a way, brothers and sisters can talk about each other in a way that can't nobody else talk about them. But they was just like, they was hitting each other over the head with stuff. I was like, y'all, this is crazy. But anyway, dang, what was I? Oh yeah, protect your kids. All right. Tamara's on the show again. She said, let me clock on in and let me get some work done. I'm free from the radio station and all my hosting. I'm not mad at you, Tamara. I know I do say a lot on the channel, like you ain't got time for this show, but that's what it's given. I can't help it. And if you booked and busy, it happens. Candy was booked and busy, and look, she ended up leaving. Garcelle was booked and busy, and look, she ended up leaving. There is nothing wrong with being booked and busy. You want to be booked and busy. I feel like this. And I said it on Accidentally Informed. If you guys did not get a chance to check it out with Claudia Jordan and Erica Cobb, I was on their podcast earlier this week. But I said it then. Always leave the club before the lights turn on. You always want to leave the club before the lights turn on. Let me tell you why. Always dip out before the party ends. You don't want to be kicked out of the party. Number one. Number two, you've been drinking and you've been dancing with somebody, and then the lights turn on and you look and see who you've been dancing with and they look like an ogre. Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. Make wise decisions. Leave the party before the lights come on. All right. Um, I'm just joking about that last part. Anyway, but no, I'm serious though. So Tamar's on there. She's upset with in every relationship, y'all. This is usually the case. Unless you, I mean, you could get two people that are the same and that can work or not work. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. There are two people in every relationship. One is the Tamara and one is the Demont. Tamara is very financially savvy. She's already set up bank accounts for the kid, for for their baby. And Demont is kind of living for the moment. I ain't gonna lie. It's every relationship is like that. I mean, you gotta admit it. If you in a relationship, one of y'all is a little bit more financially savvy than the other. One of y'all is way more savvy than the other. Okay? You got to admit it. You got to admit that. But which one are you? Which one are you? That is the question. Mm. Mm. So I did like that conversation on this particular episode. I thought it was good, right? And again, we get Tamra back into the fold in a real way in her home with her man and her baby. And I was like, okay, this is good. Like, give me more of this with Tamra. And I think also if we can more or less explain away why she's never there, I think that would go along. I could take it then. Like, I want Tamra to say, listen, y'all girls, my time is just crazy right now. I am working 16 jobs. Okay. 16 jobs. Say that. Just say it. Uh-huh. Listen, she got to work 16 jobs. He working, I don't know, he working 5 jobs. It sounds like, I mean, I like that conversation because I did feel like it was very grounded in, I feel like some of the real conversations that a lot of us have, either in relationships or with, life partners or marriages and stuff like that. I liked it personally. All right. Y'all ever seen a comment and you really want to be petty in response, but you living by the grace of God, and you know the Lord is your shepherd and you shall not want, but you really want it, but you really could go in on the comment, but you're gonna be like, you know what? I ain't gonna do it today. Ooh, child. All right. So the ladies head down to Biloxi, right? No, the comment it doesn't bother me because wait, is Mims in the building? What up, boo? Mhm. Did she do that on the first? Was that the first episode? Thank you, Mims, for tuning in and tapping in, y'all. If y'all ain't checked out, first of all, Mims needs no introduction. Okay, needs not a bit of introduction. At some point in time, Mims, we got to do something together. I have an idea. I ain't really I'm always nervous about approaching other YouTubers, but yes, we at some point we got to do something together. Okay. Oh my God, Sarah, girl, what? Y'all, man. See, let me tell you something. Okay, can I give y'all a little bit of, I'm gonna give y'all something real quick, right? I'm gonna give y'all something, a word real quick. For as much as, we do this, right? And we do this and we have these conversations, and I know people are not gonna agree with me. I know people are gonna, say crazy things. And at the end of the day, you always just have to be true to what you think about the shows, and and that's it. And you do it, and you try, you watch another show, and you start all over again, and you just keep coming back, right? And then you see something like this, and it just sort of, I just appreciate it, because it tells me that, number one, Sarah, thank you, I appreciate that. Okay. But it also goes to show that when you are just giving your honest thoughts, feedback, and trying to be productive with it, that people do recognize it. And so, Sarah, I just want to say thank you. I love you for that. I really, really do. I really, really do. That just that just made my day. It made my day. That's all I can say. I can literally end this now. you know, that's something that people don't have to do. And when they do it, that's a blessing. And so it's always a confirmation that you're doing the thing that you need to be doing in the way that you need to be doing it. And that's 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 the love right there that I do this for. So thank you, Sarah. That just like, y'all, man, I gotta leave this right here, Sarah. 'Cause you just blessed me, and I think you just blessed everybody else too. Um, you really did. That You know what? Y'all ain't gonna get me today. Y'all are not gonna get me today. Okay, y'all know I'm a Cancer. You know I'm a Cancer, Sarah. um, I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all. Y'all just don't, man. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know. Y'all have no idea. Um, whew. Okay. Okay. Um, yeah, so Tambra, we saw the baby. Okay. The girls go to Biloxi. Y'all, I ain't even no more good. I am not any more good. I'm telling you, I'm not any more good. Um, I it's just that's just gratitude. It's just gratitude. Okay. I'm done. But Sarah, thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. I am humbled by that. Very, like, you have no idea. For a lot of reasons. Um, okay, so the ladies get to Biloxi. There is still some awkwardness between Letitia and Latrice. And, Carrie does something really strange to me. She puts Latrice and Letitia in the same room together. Like, they end up in the same room, like in some bunk beds. And Letitia's like, I'm not doing this. And I wouldn't either. I would be like at the hotel at this point, because I'm like, I'm not staying. I'm not like, y'all gonna, after the lights go out, yeah, I'll pretend like I'm staying here in this bunk bed. But after that, I'm going to I'm going to the hotel. I'm going down to the Holiday Inn, okay? Down to the Super 8 suites or whatever they got in the Biloxi, because you're not gonna put me in this bunk bed. Number one, I'm 6'3". I'm not gonna fit in no bunk bed like that. You know what I'm saying? So no, I'm definitely not gonna be sharing it in some other room. I just don't put people in situations like that, especially if we're not even talking like that. That's crazy to me. Right. I was like, ma'am, this is not a mansion. This is not a mansion. Okay. This is a very nice, it's a house. Okay. It definitely gives beach house, but it is not a mansion. A mansion, it is not. Okay. And you know what's also funny to me? I know that these situations are sometimes like, I don't want to say producer driven because I don't want to take away from like the cast making decisions. But in my opinion, what I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna put people together like that. Like if I'm hosting a trip, there was no. If I'm hosting a trip, everybody got to stay in their own room. That's just how it is. That's just the end of. That's where it starts and it stops. Nobody's gonna have to share a room. I'm not even gonna try to make people share a room for the sake of drama. You can share a room. If I would have put anybody together, it would be two people who I know can get along. Like if you had put Selena and Latrice in a room, like give them a nice, like, you know what I'm saying? Or Latrice and Tambra. Like put them in a nice room where they have like space, they have like bathrooms, they have a tub, they've got like, make this feel sexy. I know it don't cost that much. I mean, the budget can spare a nice home in Biloxi. Okay? Like let's keep it real. The budget could spare a nice rental in the Biloxi. Trust me. I know. Okay? So I don't that to me, I just feel like make me feel like the cast trip is luxurious. Because Carrie's demeanor is luxury. If you look on Carrie's Instagram, because I did do a deep dive, she gives luxury travel, she gives lifestyle, not braggadocious, but just like this is how she lives. So give me something equitable to what she gives on the show. And that's what she gives. Period. Right. Um, they do go out, into the woods on the boat. That I've done that before. That is fun. Um, and we get back to the house and it's time for was it back to the house? There was somewhere outside or something like that eating. And conversation comes up and it's really about, Letitia feeling like Latrice set her up, right? And somebody sent me an interview with Mandy Girl and Millichan. And Mandy Girl was saying some stuff about how Glenn was telling her he knew she was going to be on the show. So this is my question. And I'm going to go back and find that and I'm going to put that interview in the description of this video if I can find it. I know I can find it because somebody sent it to me. So Mandy Girl in that interview, I could have sworn she said that she had been trying to get on this show for a while. So when Letitia says, I'm not gonna bring if you can't get on this show because you are you are not that exciting enough or something to that degree. I guess my thing is, was it known that Mandy Girl was trying to get on this show all this time? Because I would imagine Letitia would know. So in this particular season, when Mandy tells Millichan that Glenn had told her she was going to be on the show, how did Glenn know she was going to be on the show? And did Letitia know she was going to be on the show? And was this going to be the thing that solidified her being on the show? I'm just now processing that for some reason. Like, it's just making me now. I feel like I gotta question everything. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. We have been watching reality TV for so long. A lot of us have been watching since back when Atlanta first premiered. So I feel like Am I jaded? Am I jaded? Hey, Chef Don Don. Hey, hey, hey. Am I jaded though? To now question, like, was this a scheme that Todd set up to come to us with the BS? Hmm. So, as Letitia is running down the examples of people that Latrice has brought onto the show to get her, i.e., Antoinette, i.e., Mandy Girl, Letitia is forced to wonder, girl, are you out to get me? Like, are you out to get me? Latrice says that she is not. I don't get that type of energy from Latrice. I do get that Latrice finds herself in the worst positions because of the people that she is associated with. Maybe. Then Letitia asks her, okay, so have you, this is what Letitia says. She says, have you ever seen Glenn with your own eyes do something that has been inappropriate? If you tell me, then I will also tell you. So when she said, I will also tell you, did she mean I will tell you if Cliff has done something inappropriate in front of my eyes? Or did she mean I will confirm that I either know this or not? What did she mean by that? I gotta find that. Now I'm in it. Now I got to go investigate. Not is Glenn out to get you. um and did Cliff know about Mandy Girl and Glenn? Was I got a lot. It's so many questions. And then if does Mandy like men and women? Because I know that Mandy Girl also was married to a woman, or will she just entertain anybody? Because she did say he was her type. Let me also say this too. I have met all of them, right? I did not meet Mandy Girl. I did meet Glenn. I met Letitia. Glenn, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Glenn, outside of all this, I don't. All of this that's happening right now, I can't really speak to. Outside of all this, Glenn is fun. He's funny. He is. I mean, when you're around Letitia and Glenn, I could see why they would be drawn to each other. Um, and so that friendliness, could I see him being too friendly? Maybe with some ladies, maybe. Yeah, I could see that. Um, but why Mandy Girl? If you know Mandy Girl is associated with the cast, that makes zero sense to me. And so, Mandy girl, how does that make? Do you feel a certain type? I mean, oh, my God, I don't know. It's so. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to understand the reality of it all, and also the like the reality TV of it all, and then the reality of it all. If this were just real life, then some of this stuff could make sense, right? But because it's reality TV where you're all on the same show, I think that is the thing that makes it a crock pot of like hot mess, right? So I don't know. All I know is that Latrice chokes on her drink, hems and haws, and doesn't want to answer the question about whether or not she has seen anything suspicious between Glendale and maybe Mandy Girl or anybody else. I'm going to tell you the truth. That's a very interesting space to be in because Latrice owns a restaurant. And as the restaurant owner, when people patronize your restaurant, they don't expect that their business is going to be blasted out by the owners. But at that point, if you know the owners, you should probably take that someplace else. Because now you're putting the owners in a weird spot. So, and then you got friendships mixed in with this. This is all kind of crazy. Now, when you really think about it, this is real crazy. Bottom line, Tanisha, bottom line. Y'all, listen, I have had y'all, we have gone on a journey today. In 1 hour, y'all, we have gone from here, 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 here. I ain't expect all this today. I love y'all for real. I really, really do. I I ain't got nothing else to give today. Um, Even if you ain't like something I said today, even if you don't like me, I still love you because y'all, I had a time today. I had a time today. On days when I sometimes feel like I don't know if I got the strength, to have a conversation and dialogue, y'all be like, it's something about doing this that it just never ceases to amaze me. It never ceases to amaze me in any way, shape, or form. But I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for the opinions, whether you agree, whether you disagree, whether you don't like me, whether you love me, you're still here for a reason. And I'm thankful for all of it. All right. So, with that being said, y'all, I'm going to take my emotional cancer self and I'm going to go and take a little walk around the neighborhood. All right. With that being said, I will catch y'all in the next video.